Chris.
And I'm Wendy.
And welcome to the Toasted Marshmallow Adventures Podcast. Today we have a special guest.
Yes, we do.
Comedian for, I believe, 30 years.
Long time.
He does everything.
Has hundreds of podcasts, I believe. Sam Tripoli,
Yes.
welcome to the show.
Thank
Do you want me
you
to
for
leave this
being
right
here.
here? Yeah, because I'll grab it. I'll start
we've been finding podcasts all over the place for you.
Yeah,
Like,
let's
what
just
is
get
going
into
on?
that real quick.
Well, yes, thank you for having me. It's great to be here. I'm very appreciative of you guys having me on. It's good to be in town. Boise, putting together a tour, trying to work on new material.
Okay, that's what we wondered.
Yeah, and I have 1,000 podcasts. It's basically what it is like I'm a crazy person.
Yeah.
I've been talking to myself since I can remember. I've always talked to myself. So I always said well, I could just talk to myself or I could just throw a camera in front of me and then create content.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I do. And then, over time, I realized that it's very hard for me to sit down and read a book.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I try to force myself every day to read a little bit. My attention span isn't for that. So I'm really good at retaining information by talking to people. That's how I retain a lot of information. So I have a buddy of mine named Bryancallen.
We know Bryan.
He's like, oh, you got 90 podcasts. And he likes to read books. I always say I like to talk to the authors. So what I do is I discover things I want to learn about, and if I could do a podcast on. So when I started Tinfoil Hat because the podcast before that kind of had ended abruptly, and I just found myself talking about conspiracies. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to start a conspiracy podcast, and then I would do spiritual podcasts. Episodes on that podcast, and they just didn't do the numbers. So it was obvious that people didn't want to hear that, but those episodes really resonated with me, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to start a spiritual podcast.
Right. Yeah.
So I start the spiritual podcast, and then so I'm making a little money on these premium content shows I do, but I don't know how to invest. I don't know anything about calls or puts or how to invest. So I talked to my buddy because, I have a buddy of mine, and just so you know, I didn't start making money in comedy till I was 43 years old. I started
You're
doing
48?
I'm 49. I just turned 49. I started comedy at 22. I didn't start doing stand up. I started making real money. Where it's like, okay, I could buy this if I want, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't start making that till I was 43 years old. Wow. So that's 21 years.
Yeah.
Right. And podcasting changed my life and all this stuff. So when I meet friends of mine who are kind of still working in the old system, I kind of tell them what I did. I spread the knowledge. And so I was talking to a buddy of mine, and I was just telling him about crypto and how I think crypto is going to make all these millionaires. And he's telling me about stocks. So I'm like, that should be your show. It should be a stock. And then I'm like, I need to learn about this. Why don't we do a show together? That's where Cash Daddies comes from.
Okay,
so each podcast is something I want to learn about.
Like a school for you.
Yes.
Your podcast.
Okay.
Right. So, and sometimes it is a lot of work. So, but
So do you have somebody that produces and edits, or
each one the free shows Broken Sim is Broken Sim was when all the comedy clubs shut down, but I wanted to write new material, so I said, okay, I'm just gonna do a comedy podcast where I just talk comedy. I also have a sports podcast, so I'm super excited about.
Drunk.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah.
So each one is about something I enjoy talking about and I can talk about freely. Then I have these premium contents, and I produce those myself, and it's just using Zoom off my computer, and they just the people who like it, it's more about the content than the shiny objects of it. Right. So that's kind of where it's at.
So how long have you known Bryan?
Callen. I've known Bryancallen. I met Bryancallen early 2000s at a show called Beecher's Madhouse in Las Vegas. Was the greatest hell gig you ever play.
Really?
It's because at the time you're super broke. The Beecher would pay you $2,500 to do 10 minutes.
Wow.
And I always break down pay in terms of sex workers.
Yeah, right.
Right? You know, you get $15. That's crack whore stuff. You do 10 minutes for 25. That's like high-end escort shit.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you were getting high-end escort
Yeah.
money, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, dude, this is the best. And it was like this crazy-ass gig. And I met Bryan. He's wearing like a yellow tuxedo.
Oh, geez.
And he was just, so And it was like, yeah, man, that's why I met him. We've been friends since.
awesome.
And, when all the chaos went down,
Yes.
I'm like, this is not the Bryan I know. So I'm
Yeah.
like, so I get a call from Shab, and he's like,
Oh,
hey, you
Brendan.
want to do a podcast with Callen? I knew what it was about.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I'll do a podcast with
Yeah.
him, man. So
Because he's
bo-
not on, what is it?
he's
Too
back
Fat
on
Cake?
Fire and a Kid now.
Oh, he is. Oh,
Brian's kind of back.
Okay, cool.
I don't know if he wants to do the acting he used to do.
Yeah.
But it's so funny, man. Like life, you lose what you don't want. But when it's taken from you,
Yeah.
you're really sad about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I had a girlfriend I couldn't stand. Like we're friends and I think the world of her, but in the relationship, couldn't stand it. I was like, I'm gonna leave, fuck her. And then one day she's like, I don't want to be in a relationship
like,
anymore. I'm like, why do you hate me? Why are you hurting me so much? I went to Lord of the Rings. I'm crying the whole movie. People are like, this guy's really loving this movie, right?
Nothing
my
to
God.
do with
It's
it.
like when it's taken from you, you feel lost, right?
Yeah.
No,
But he's coming
to
back.
where- yeah, for sure. He's
yeah.
back to where he was.
That was just a blip.
The best they can.
Yeah.
I always tell him, you only lost what you didn't really want.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that was just a thing that was happening.
Well, I
feel
mean, you
like-
want to get
him and-
conspiracies?
Yeah, there were
Oh.
several people at that
That was
point.
all about Joe Rogan.
Was you think?
Oh yeah, they were doing
Oh, well,
mob
yeah, 'cause
style
he was
shit.
he's
so they
the
tried to
main
keep
guy.
taking him out.
Yeah.
They did this
Oh,
whole
really?
10-minute video. He has a funny bit about Joe. It's a 10-minute
Oh,
video of
really?
him
Okay.
saying the N-word, right?
Okay.
And he's like, dude, I'm 2 minutes in. I'm like, there's 8 more minutes to go. It's
Oh,
a
my God.
fucking funny bit.
Oh,
and
man.
so they couldn't get him. So
Right.
they just started doing mafia hits,
yeah.
dude. Well, that's what the
Yeah.
mafia does.
Wow.
They can't get the main Don. They start taking out soldiers.
Yes.
And when they went after Diaz, that's when I go, oh, this isn't
Oh,
about
I
any of this
know.
stuff.
That was crazy.
This is about
Yeah.
trying to get the Rogan
Yeah.
by taking out his
Yeah.
soldiers.
Yeah.
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 Dang. So let's talk about
you okay if I go
Conspiracy
live?
Social
Yeah, do it. I
Club.
don't care.
Because I was listening to an episode the other day with Bryancallen. That was like a competition between you two, sort of, in a fun way.
It is a theatrical, entertaining debate show
Okay.
between two people that love each other.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Okay.
That's
And so
kind of
you
what
take
it's
one
about.
side, he takes.
Yeah, well, I'm the
Okay.
conspiracy
Yeah.
guy, and he deep throats the official narrative, and we go back and forth,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
very entertaining, and it seems like we're screaming at each other, but it's real love. We hug before we hug out, and
Oh,
I
that's
wouldn't do
cool.
it if it really was like
I've
getting
always
in a
got the
fight.
sense just from listening to Bryan that he's a solid guy. He
He's a
seems very
solid guy.
Yeah.
Well, that's why when you hear the whole thing,
I
you're
was
like,
like,
that's not the Bryan I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
That
Yeah.
it's like, was Bryan a pussy hound? 100%.
But I mean,
Who doesn't like to court like, but he
Exactly.
courts them. Like that's
Yeah.
if you actually listen to Bryan talk, he's very super liberal to the point you could go progressive. That and not that those people can't do bad things,
Right.
but he like his whole thing is the hunt.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
they're like, you've been in relationships.
Yeah.
Like it's almost
Yeah.
more like the courting is more than the actual act of hooking up.
Right.
That's the more
Getting them.
fun, the dance you do. And then you get done, you're like, oh, okay, we're done here. But
Yeah, fine.
until
Fun's
then,
over.
it's like Beauty and the Beast where you're dancing with a minotaur, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
that's the fun. And that's
Yeah.
the Callen I know. And
Yeah.
until I get shown actual proof, I won't believe anything
Good.
different.
Yeah. I like
Nice.
that.
I was actually watching, I don't know if I was watching, but it was on the TV, old episodes of like America's Dumbest and seeing him on there from like years ago.
Oh yeah, he was. Like Bryan did a lot of amazing stuff.
Yeah.
and he was a very hardworking, trained. I
been
always
on a
said
lot of-
Bryan is the most entertaining comedian I've ever met. I've never met anybody that can do his type of stand up. It's like the guy literally talks about how shredded he is for like
Yeah.
an hour. It's like
Yeah.
it's
Ego
like nobody
is
else
pretty
does that
big.
stuff. And these like weird man fantasies he has about riding horses naked and fighting grizzly bears. Like it's like nobody else does that.
Oh my God. So in looking you up online, it was hard for me to actually tell which podcasts were yours and which ones you were guests on. There were so many out there. So actually, how many podcasts do you have?
So I have Tinfoil Hat. I have Punch Drunk Sports. I have Broken Sim. I have
Spiritual something.
I have so those are the three that I do that are kind of main shows. Now I have a couple shows that like I have premium content that I give away the old audio for free so people could check it out.
Yeah.
And that is Zero. And then Cash Daddies as well. That's my
How many were on?
so right now we're at Punch Drunk, Tinfoil Hat, Broken Sim, Cash Daddies. Then I have Conspiracy Social Club, Zero, and then I have some like premium content I do for Tinfoil Hat.
Wow, that's a lot. And you don't edit any of them yourself, right?
I do very little editing unless it's like something completely stupid. I really won't where there's a glitch, but for the most part, I put out warts and all and let them enjoy it. I feel like that, like the difference between radio and podcasting is that it's a conversation.
Yeah.
Like you see so many people who do radio try to do it in a podcast form.
Yeah.
And that's not it at all. It's like the truth is, it's like the more real, the more authentic, the more it resonates with people.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think it's the new radio?
I think it's going to blow. I think it's the new everything.
The new everything.
I think it's the new television. I think it's the new everything. I just think that the authenticity of it, there will always be like wacky. There's a lot of my friends and I love them. They do what I call pop comedy, and it's like super poppy, like just like it's like the morning zoo version of podcasting, and that's fine. I do whatever makes you happy, right? But for me, it's like authenticity. How real can you get on? Say how authentic you can. People have always said they really like me because I'm pretty pretty honest about my sex, drug, and everything else addiction that I have. Because I think that's real. Like, why does Breaking Bad resonate with everybody? Not just, the content, but I really do think that the characters themselves were so flawed that people connect with that.
Yeah. That's what I appreciate is the podcasts I listen to. I appreciate when they're super honest and just lay it out there, even if it's hard to hear. Sometimes it's like, whoa. Yeah.
But that's it. I mean, it's like you go like, man, sometimes we do podcasts. I'm like, I don't know how that podcast went. But and they're like, that's my favorite podcast.
Yeah,
I know. I know when it's really good. I just don't know when they're going to like it too. What I like and what they like are two different things. But it's like the more authentic, the better.
Yeah.
That's what I say. So, and I just felt like there's some people that can't come to, like for me, man, spiritually, like my Zero podcast has really helped me in life because it's like this is some kind of weird realm. It's like, I call it a haunted house, right? We live in a haunted house and there's actors here that are trying to steal what they call loosh, which is your spirit energy. And how do you learn to deal and thrive in this? And there's a lot of things like
where we are right now.
So
is that why you're Ghost of Tripoli?
Well, Ghost of Tripoli because they took down my old. I'm severely shadow banned on the internet.
I know when I followed you, I got a warning.
That's right.
I did. A thing popped up when I followed
which
you.
Which is kind of fucking.
You want to do this?
Badass.
We're like, yes.
Yeah.
Right. That you want to do it even
exactly.
more.
Yeah.
So it's just it's kind of crazy, man. But this is what I enjoy. This is what I thrive in. I would love to do the other way. But I found, a lot of my brands are brands that I feel like, when I get into, today I decided at 72 years old, I will retire from stand-up comedy. I had that thought in my head.
72.
72. That will be 50 years of stand-up comedy.
Oh, wow.
I feel like I've talked about everything. I'm 1 year away from 50. So I still have a long time to go, right? So,
right.
But I decide that. And I think about like, okay, I'm going to do stand-up. Am I going to be trying to sell tickets? Am I going to be doing all this stuff?
Right.
And if I am, how am I going to get? So like a big part of my thing is like, and this is very technical podcast, so I'm sorry, but like,
No,
it's
right.
like, can I do, what brands do, all my brands are brands you'll listen to old people talk about.
Right.
Like, that's important to me. Like, because I'm getting old, right? I don't want to do like, what's up with dating? And then like, nobody wants to hear a 55-year-old talking about what is, I mean, you just don't. Everybody wants to see hot young people talking about dating and fucking. Nobody wants to hear from the dude who, I don't fuck anymore. I just hump, you know? I just hump. I don't fuck.
Done.
Which I get, whenever I say on stage, I can hear all the vaginas just snapping shut like bear traps or the whole thing.
It's over.
So that's kind of where it's at. And like, so my whole thing is like, what is the game now? Like, that's a big thing for me. I've had podcasts where like, everything is a game. You interviewing me is a game. You asking questions is a game. Me with the audience is a game. You with your children. You with your mate. Everything is a game. Like, and if you don't, and like, so going,
in terms of like changing how you are,
which
as
is
we
podcasting,
proceed,
right?
Yeah.
So like, I got some friends, which is goes why I started Cash Daddies. My buddy Howie, like I want him to understand the game. Like the game is no longer pitching shows to networks.
Right.
People are doing that. They're making way less money than they used to.
Yeah.
But some people are so invested in that game that they can't get out of it.
So is it like going to Netflix versus putting your special on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's not just that. It's like podcasting, putting up clips of your stand-up. The old game was hold it, your stand-up, and then put it out once so that people would see it. Now it's just like, you know, drive-by, shoot this shit.
Exactly.
Really.
And then
As
people
much
just
as you
want to
can.
come and experience you now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is Chris Neff,
Woo-hoo!
and he's on Cash Daddies.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
Come in and hang out with us.
So he's from here?
He is from here.
Oh, cool.
I think he's from, well, his dad just passed. He literally was at his memorial today. We'll ask him
geez.
how that went. And which is amazing when you see comedians at memorials, especially comedians at comics memorials are the greatest thing ever. Sad to lose a joker, but it's so funny because it's just raw as shit.
So do you live in LA?
I do.
Okay.
I don't want. I just had. I had kids at 47 years old.
Wow.
2 twin daughters.
Oh my God.
That I love so much.
I'm 47 now.
Yeah, so I just had kids.
Okay. Mine are 20 and 22.
Oh, so you had very early.
Yeah, like in my
Mine are
20s.
now.
Yeah. Oh.
How old?
First
They were a
kids?
year and 9 months.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yes, 2 kids.
2 kids. You
First
got
2
twins.
kids.
Wow.
And I love them very much, you know.
Yeah.
Enough to put up with the mother. So.
Yeah.
No, but she's dealing with me. I'm sure she could give you a list of things that I mean, you gotta be crazy to have my kids. So I'm appreciative. 2 whack jobs had 2 wonderful children.
Yay.
So I don't know what that, but yeah, I mean, so my buddies, I was, you know, I want them to understand that, like, you know, it's like I talk about the Joan Rivers way of operating, which is being as authentic as you can, you know, just being as real and raw. And that doesn't mean yell and scream, but be as authentic as you can.
Yeah.
And like now it's not about trying to get everybody. Now it's about getting those who love what you do.
Okay.
That's to me what it is.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, there's a comic out there named Sebastian Maniscalco,
Yes,
right?
yes.
We used to co-headline together. He's playing Madison
Really?
Square Garden,
I
you
know.
So it's like,
And they edit all of their podcasts
Themselves?
Pete just came out and said that on a recent
oh,
one.
I think they rerun it.
He said they edit things.
Well,
I was like,
each
why
their
are they
own.
editing?
Yeah.
We want to actually, as a listener, you want to know who they are. And
Yes.
you're missing
Yeah.
that if they're editing. Because
So-
they're taking stuff out they said that they don't think is funny. But as a listener, we're actually okay
Well,
with
I
that.
think and you see this when, like, let's say a bunch of podcast people come here tonight.
Yeah.
You know, they're not gonna, they laugh, but they really listen. So it gets super quiet when you're talking to the
Yeah.
point as if you're an old club comic,
Yeah.
you're like,
Come
I'm
on."
bombing right now.
Yeah.
I'm bombing from my own fans,
Yeah.
right? So it's like this
No,
weird
we're paying
fucking
attention.
moment.
So they're kind of like looking for that podcast content a little bit
Well,
in your
because they're
comedy.
used to just sitting and listening.
Yeah, listen to
Yeah,
you talk.
true.
So it's a different way. So now it's real, and they don't. It's
wild.
and so it's so interesting when you play your crowds, because like I'm an old school comedy store comic.
Yeah.
Like I'm going up at midnight after a conga line of comics, and I gotta get blood from a stone. So you're like just going at these crowds, right? And like sometimes people be like, "You're not funny," and then you just steal their soul, right?
Yeah.
You're like fatality, right? Yeah. Well, you can't do it with these people, because if I go at them hard, I am crushing their soul.
Yeah. Literally,
you're my favorite person, and you just said I'm garbage. It's like, so you gotta like kill them with the loving kindness. You gotta hug them like a Care Bear. Yeah. And like, it's so funny when I do clubs, I get hecklers, like the bouncers are ready to just pounce on them, and I'm like, no, we're family, and you just like have to like disarm them with love.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's like a different way of operating.
You got passed by Mitzi, the whole thing?
So, yeah, the whole kind of crazy story is that I told it on the Showtime special about the Comedy Store. And like, so two of my good friends are still to this day, Maz Jabrani, Duncan Trussell. And Duncan was the headliner, the booker at the time. And Mitzi always had visions of where comedy was going. Like she did the first ever urban night at a main comedy club. She created the Belly Room to be female only comedy. And she was like the Middle Easterns are going to need somebody to be their voice. And this was 1 year before 9/11.
Oh, wow.
So she did that. So I get a call from Duncan. He's like, hey, man, are you Middle Eastern? I'm like, I'm Armenian. He's like, close enough.
Close enough.
I'm like, close enough. Mitzi wants to put together an all Middle Eastern show. You want a showcase? I'm like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So it came down. Duncan gives me what he thinks is the equation to get picked up by Mitzi, which is do a joke about your ethnic group, do a joke about one of your parents, and then do your favorite bit.
Okay.
How'd
Right?
that go?
So I'm like, okay, I had a joke about my being Armenian in LA, because when I moved to LA, I thought I was a white person. And then you go there, you find out Armenians are not white people, and people hate Armenians in LA. And so, and I have this whole story where it's like, I had this interaction with Paul Mooney that precedes this, where I was on stage doing jokes about how, Paul's like, I'm doing a joke about how hard it is to be white guys in America. And this is before the whole political correctness thing. And I got off stage and he's like, oh, homie, you ain't Armenian. You ain't white. Use Armenian. Use an N-word. And he called me. I would say it, but I don't want you guys to get weirded out, right? So he goes, use an N-word, right? And I was both shocked and loved it that the guy kind of like, when you look up the N-word, his face is right there as the guy who coined the term, right?
Right.
So it was like an honor.
Yeah.
So joining us is my friend Chris Neff.
How are you? Welcome.
Did you crush earlier, dude?
Welcome.
What do you mean, my ring?
No, did you at the memorial? Did you
Yes,
crush?
I actually did.
Did you get a standing O?
I walked about 20.
Okay.
You Wait, were you doing like a set there at the?
Yeah, my
memorial?
dad died.
Oh, and you actually did a set?
No.
It was just a eulogy.
Okay, gotcha.
But you know I'm trying to be funny.
Yeah.
No, actually, I didn't.
You did no comedy.
No, I went deep.
You did alt comedy.
No, I didn't even alt. I went deep into soul family, my spiritual feeling of how we're all connected in this world and the next one, and I'm saving the comedy for tonight, man.
Nice.
So who are you guys? I got wet hands.
Oh, okay.
Wendy, Chris.
Wendy and Chris?
Yep,
Toasted Marshmallow
Chris as well.
Adventures.
Toasted Marshmallow Adventures
Official
podcast.
Sweet Lounge.
Yes, that's us.
So we're on Cash Daddies together, and he's the cat
So you do
man.
it by Zoom or?
Yeah, we do it by
Okay.
Zoom.
And that's
So-
the cryptocurrency one?
Crypto
Okay.
stocks.
Okay.
Want to see if I get rugged? Because right before I walked into the service, I got the bug. I have a problem with action.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
likes
I can't get
action.
enough of it.
Can't get enough
And I-
action.
and I
It's
had a
always
guy-
going,
A
pinging
guy
off of
calls
shit.
me right before I walk in the service. He's like, "You got to get on Wigwam coin. It's gonna 40x." And I was like, "I'm getting ready to go talk about my dad and how great his life was, and you make me feel like a gambling junkie." And he's like, "Well, that's what you pay me for."
Yeah.
So I got to check. It's either gonna be, this could go either way, but Sam was giving me shit.
So
thinks I have a problem.
I started doing this show. I'll get back to the Paul Mooney. I was doing a show with my friend Howie Dewey. I'm like, you got to start a podcast. I think names are super important on podcasts. So we were coming up with names, and I'm like, I just have my kids. He has kids. So I'm like, and we're trying to make mine. I'm like, why don't we call it Cash Daddies? You look up, there's no podcast named Cash Daddies.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, let's call it Cash Daddies. So he brought in Evan, our guy who does all the editing.
Our boy toy.
He does the editing. Well, I was calling Neff to check in because you never know when Neff's going to check himself out, right? So you got to do wellness checks on him once in a while.
I was living in some dark times.
Yeah.
COVID took it out.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So I call him up, and so I'm talking about crypto because I'm telling all my friends get into crypto because I think it's a great way to make a lot of money. It's really helped me change my fortunes. So I'm telling him, then he's telling me about stocks and this Reddit channel called Wall Street Bets. So Dana, my girl, is listening, and she's like, you should have him on the show. So I'm like, oh yeah, that'd be a great idea. It will keep him alive for another year, another week. Let's call him up. So I'm like, hey, come on our show. So he came on the show, and he absolutely crushed it.
Called GameStop, bro. Nobody saw that coming.
We did.
Yeah, well, I was deep in the web. And I bought it at $4.
Wow.
And then I sold it at $14, thinking I made a very good profit. And then my team said, you got to buy GameStop. It's going to explode. And then we made the first bet on the show. Yeah. And I said, GameStop's going to 100 in 6 months. It went to 100 the next day.
Dang.
From like $12, $14 at the time.
Yeah.
So then we had an audience because they're like, these guys could pick winners.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
So I called up I go, I think we should have him on permanently.
Cool.
So I knew it would be a good way to keep him alive for a little while. And so it's been going really well. It's such a new type of show that's still finding its audience because how many people want to hear like financial stuff and dick jokes at the same time? But
Oh, you get dick jokes too?
oh, it's great. It's really raw financial advice.
There's literally 500 financial podcasts, but it's too technical, and I think the magic is that we're normal guys. We're just guys trying to figure out. We're comics trying to make money. Right. And we have Howie, who is a boomer and did have 13 years experience on Wall Street. So the mix is you've got Howie, the boomer, you've got me, who plays primarily stocks and crypto, and then you've got Sam, which is just balls.
I'm all about generators and learning Krav Maga,
and like buy a
gold.
crossbow. Like we'll be picking like, hey, I really like Endeavor this week, or Apple's looking good, and he's like, do you have any Chinese throwing stars? Because once they run out of ammo, you're gonna need backup.
There we go.
Oh my God.
So
that sound awesome.
Yeah,
I got rugged.
It's gonna find what?
I got rugged.
Is it gone?
It's not gone, but it's not good.
Yeah, but see, that's you go to like the darkest arena of the internet, the farthest region where it just makes no sense, and it's just he's chasing action.
I'm a chaser. I'm not a bug chaser, but I am a chaser. But it's been
you got the bug for crypto.
I got the bug for crypto.
You're chasing.
Yeah.
So let me finish this story. I got 3 stories I want to tell.
Okay.
So anyway, Paul Mooney calls me the N-word, right?
Okay.
And I'm like, damn. And I'm like, okay. But that's kind of cool, too. I was telling everybody, I'm like, I got called the M-word by Paul Mooney. They're like, oh, dude, congrats. So I thought he hated me, right? So I get a call from Duncan. So he gives me the thing, and I do a joke about being Armenian, being furry, going to the beach. I do a joke about my mother because she's power walking, which I was like, that's lazy running. You're just lazily running. And then I do a bit. Then the last bit is Asians on ecstasy because Joey Diaz told me, dog, that's such a funny bit. It's about how like they do Molly and they're so smart that their visuals are better than all of ours.
It makes sense.
Because they're like IMAX, Dolby Digital sound, and we got Atari graphics, right? So I did that, and so she and this is the funny part. So I get off stage and I walk up. So let me say this real quick. So I'm on stage doing stand up. Who do I see sit down next to her? Paul Mooney. So at the time, what would happen was Mitzi would show up and they would call it Hijackers Showcase because they were like, Mitzi, I'm not getting spots. Can I get spots? Blah, blah, blah. So I thought that Paul Mooney was hijacking my thing. So I'm like, fuck it. So I just go harder, right? So I get off. It turns out he really liked me. And he's like, oh, Mitzi, you got to pick this guy up. He is funny. I'm like, so Paul Mooney's why I got in the Comedy Store. So anyways, I get off stage and I walk to her. This is a true story. And she goes, great job. She goes, are you Syrian? And I swear to God, I didn't know what a Syrian was at the time. I didn't know what there was Syria. I was upstate New York public educated. But I was like, yeah, I'm Syrian, man. You hadn't gone. You said that? Yeah, I go, I'm Syrian. I got this. I love my Syrian grandma. I love being Syrian. Viva Syria. Right? So she had me showcase another time. And this is how nice Maz Jobrani is. So it was myself, El Magical, and Aaron Cater, because he's half Palestinian, half Mormon, which is a crazy group.
Yeah.
Right? So he did it. And so we had a buddy of ours named Ernst, who we wanted to get in, and Maz hid, so they couldn't find him. So they're like, we can't find Maz, but we have this really funny guy we'd like to see, which is Brett Ernst. So Brett Ernst showcased that day. So myself, Aaron, Ahmed, and Brett Ernst all got picked up on the same day at the Comedy Store, which was like in November, which is a cool story. I tell another story about Matt Bragg. Do you remember? Do you guys know who Matt Bragg is?
His name is
He's
vaguely.
the old manager here. Gay guy.
Liquid.
Oh,
He's from San Diego.
I didn't know he wasn't the manager anymore.
Well, I hear he's taking a break.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
he's
know
from
Matt.
San Diego.
Yeah.
Well,
But
he's from San Diego.
Yeah.
He used to manage the La Jolla Comedy Store.
Right, but he was also connected with Liquid here in Boise, I think.
Yeah. But he's good friends with Jen.
Okay.
They've been friends forever.
Yeah.
I've known Jen since Vegas times, which is a hilarious story.
Before LA.
But yeah, so the last time I saw Jen before this was just before I'd seen her in La Jolla. And she's like, wow, whatever you're doing in LA, keep going. You've gotten really funny. Because I would be like, Mitzi loved me. And she would give, like, I'm one of two people that got our first paid regular spot was a main room spot.
Wow.
It was me and guess who else? Roseanne
I
Barr.
read that. Yeah, Roseanne.
So me and Roseanne Barr were the first two people. So the last time I saw Jen was at the La Jolla Comedy Store, and a very funny thing happened at La Jolla Comedy Store. Myself, Brett Ernst. So I used to go down with like murder shows with the four of us. Mitzi gutted the entire lineup and brought in all these young guys. Right. And as I'm older now, I feel really bad for the comics that I had to. When I was young, I was like, fuck it, I don't care. I'm just gigging. Yeah. And I get it because, it's kind of going on right now. And not that they gutted it, but a lot of people just left because of the pandemic and all this
They're
stuff.
in Austin.
And a lot of people in Austin, Florida. It's
Nashville too.
It's an end of an era, dude. It was like a crazy end of an era at the Comedy Store. That involved people who were at the quote unquote darkest time of the Comedy Store and its brightest time.
Right.
And the people, I tell people this all the time, the people who got to get it up at the Comedy Store back when Mitzi was still had a hold on it, but she wasn't all there, got the most purest comedy's ever been. Because you got this Comedy Store where none of the industry went, in the heart of Hollywood, none of the industry went, and the guy that was running it just smoked weed and didn't give a shit, and if you went up after a certain time, and he would literally do this thing where it was like a speed bump. He'd put two comics right before me so they would clear out the thing and there would be like 20 people left and I could just go nuts, right?
Yeah.
But everybody that was there, that they called the dark period, everybody was there are now getting, when it mattered, but specials on Netflix, specials on HBO, specials on Comedy Central. Like they were all had the Comedy Store not only was the mecca of comedy, but it became the mecca of comedy podcasting. Joe Rogan, Mark Maron, Joey Diaz, Death Squad, Bill Burr, all these guys were all out of the Comedy Store at one. It was a very powerful thing. And if you ask me, there were like intelligence agents in there. There was a
FBI or CIA? Because I know we've been in depth on this. Okay, so you definitely believe the FBI was infiltrating.
Name me a cultural movement where the FBI didn't infiltrate.
So the FBI was involved in the Comedy Store.
The FBI. There are certain comics, I will not say their name on this podcast, that if you ask me privately if they were FBI, I'd say 100%.
But you're talking
here. You want to go even crazier? I think the Chinese had people in the Comedy Store.
But FBI to turn social and political movements like Black Lives Matter or Me Too.
No. Like you remember the Laurel Canyon studio?
Yeah,
that was all FBI. That was the FBI controlling the counterculture movement by who they put out. Jim Morrison's father was the guy in charge.
He was at the Gulf of Tonkin.
Yeah. So why wouldn't they get in there? Find out what everybody's talking about. Try to control. I mean, it's totally, dude. I mean, literally, the model of comedy right now was born out of what the Comedy Store was doing. Dane Cook started it, which was the first guy to blow up off the internet.
Yeah.
But the podcast, stand-up, fucking juggernaut.
Well, to be fair, Dane Cook, at that time, you had the Laugh Factory, you had the store, and then Dublin's, which was bigger than the store.
But the Improv.
And the Improv.
And it was bigger than everything.
Right. But Dublin's, which was where Dane would go up and do an hour on any day of the week. That was bigger than any comedy club.
So if you guys don't know, there was a giant show called Dublin's. And it was the first time ever, because when I moved to L.A., you were only allowed to play one of the clubs, and that was because of Mitzi. The other clubs didn't care.
Yeah,
you were only allowed to be one. So comics, based on your style, would go to certain clubs. So the Improv became the writers, where everybody who wrote, like we're trying to be on Tonight Show.
They talk a lot about alt clubs, like
none of these are alt clubs.
Okay.
No, none of these are alt clubs.
Okay.
Some of if you couldn't make it in any of those clubs,
that would be Largo.
Well, the alt scene got hijacked. So alt comedy comes from alternative rooms. Because, for a long time you didn't want to work at the big clubs working on new shit.
Right.
Because so much industry was there. But you need somewhere to work it out. Yeah. So you would go to these alt rooms. You're like, welcome to Taquito Mas or Taquito Mas. They got a stage. We're going to do stand-up.
Yeah.
That's what alt started. Then
KGB
bad
bar.
comics just hijacked it and created this place where unfunny people would go rock for unfunny people. And there was this place called Meltdown Comics, and the people there were nice, but became
this
this
in the back of a comic book store.
Yeah, where it became this juggernaut where all these cable shows are coming out of, and I didn't go there forever because I was a Comedy Store comic, and I went there, it was 2 rows of lawn furniture, that was this juggernaut where all these shows are coming from, and you wonder why nobody watched anything. But so Dublin's became the first place where all the major comedy clubs, comics would be on the first time on one lineup.
Oh, okay.
So the Comedy Store, the Improv, and the Laugh Factory would all go there. And the Comedy Store and the Laugh Factory comics would crush. And then the Improv comics would eat bags of dicks.
Yeah, but you go in there and they would be dripping with industry. That's where they all went.
Dude, the funniest thing, Alonzo Bowden, who had to follow Dane Cook all the time at Dane Cook's height. I always say there's 3 sets where I've seen somebody kill at a level I never even understood. And it was Joe Rogan in Toronto during
Massey
a
Hall.
UFC Massey Hall was the greatest set I've ever seen anybody have at that point, because I was like, oh my, this is no, it was second, it was up there. I was like, this is what it must have been to watch Sam Kinison at the height of his powers.
Yeah.
He's raw, real.
Yeah.
Ari kind of walks up, and Ari in that world, because of Joe Rogan's podcast, is like a celebrity.
Yeah.
Joe said it was like hearing Coldplay walking out. So Joe, then there was Bert Kreischer at my show at the Comedy Store, where Bert's, when he would inhale, would get a laugh. I've never seen anybody kill it. Oh yeah. And then it was
that's when your 5-minute. That's when your 5-minute set turns into 30.
Yeah.
And you're
no, he was just crushing.
Oh, man.
And then Dane Cook at Dublin's was like something nobody had ever seen before.
I was back there many times, and I just couldn't believe. And people were literally itching to sign people. And I walked up to Jay Davis with my VHS tape, and I've been doing comedy for like a month. And I'm like, "Hey, will you get me on the show?" And he's like, "Sure, kid, I'll take a look at it." And it literally went over his shoulder. And I was like, "This sounds tough."
So, but Dane started because of Mindspace. He's the first one who showed that you could get a following on the internet.
Yeah.
And then it changed the game. But then Rogan and everybody else went to podcasting. Now, if you look at Red Band and what Red Band started.
He started Your Mom's House. He started Rogan.
He started Rogan. He started Your Mom's House. He started. He had a show with Duncan. He had a show with Joey Diaz. I mean, he basically had everybody.
Yeah.
My show, I couldn't get anybody to listen to.
What are you talking about, the Naughty Show?
Yeah, it was the funniest thing I've ever done.
I don't know about that. It was up there. Because I see you
podcast-wise?
I see you get progressively funnier in everyday life, so I think you're a little hard on yourself.
But nobody will ever. Those guys are getting like 100,000.
Although watching Ari eat that drug and you holding him and petting him was some of the funniest shit.
What upsets me about that is like there's so many things that happen on the Naughty Show that guys would go on to do on Comedy Central and not mention the Naughty Show.
Right.
Brody Stevens' whole show was based on a dating game that I did with him, where he had a choice of 2 hardcore porn stars, a playmate, or a trans porn star, and of course he picked a trans porn star.
That's what I would have done.
Which became funny. I'm so happy you could be yourself. Dude. He's out of Hollywood. He's just being himself.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this isn't going to get back to Hollywood, is it?
Yeah, well, when I promote it to everybody. When I go, listen to the podcast, Chris Neff being himself.
Finally transitioned in Boise.
Yeah, so that should be the name of your podcast.
Transitioning with Chris Neff?
In Boise.
There you go.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah, so that was it. Yeah, I'm headlining at the Comedy Store with my friend Brett Ernst. We used to do crazy lineups like myself, Brett Ernst, John Caparulo, Sebastian Maniscalco, like 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. And Sebastian is married to a wonderful woman, but back in his fucking savage days, him and I worked as a team.
Oh, gee.
We worked as a team, and we both agreed. Because you'd always be 2 chicks. One would be super hot. One would be fuckable. Okay? And we would let the super hot pick who they wanted. And the other guy wouldn't do any resistance. And we would jump on the grenade, right? That was our goal. Was like help the other guy bang the 10.
But since when is fuckable a grenade taker?
Well, in this instance, it is.
I would take fuckable any day of the week.
Right. Well, I'm trying not to be mean. Not that they were ugly at all, but like one was a smoke show and the other one was good looking, right?
Yeah, missing an eyeball is what you're saying.
Or like one had like too much forehead, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hot.
Man face.
I love big forehead.
Yeah, big forehead. I'm into weird shit. Cross-eyed, big teeth.
Big teeth for me. Big forehead.
Dude, if I get slightly cross-eyed with big teeth, I'm in love. That's my shit.
And pale white skin.
I don't know why. No,
I
I
should be a vampire. I love that shit.
I just like, whatever color I'm in. I'm in. So I'm at the little, and this involves Matt Bragg.
Okay, Matt.
And why he used to hate me telling this story because it was so funny. So I'm doing stand-up, right? It's me, at this time it's me and Brett, and we would switch who would close. And it's Brett's turn to close. Right. So I go up on stage, I'm just slaying, right? Crush fest, right? And I kill, like San Diego crowds, La Jolla crowds are like bourgeois trash. Like they're like super rich kids who like to wear trucker hats and act like they live in a trailer park, right? But they're all like fucking from La Jolla, right? So they can get super rowdy. Super rowdy. And I'm having a great set. These two well-to-do white women walk in with their boyfriends. They sit down and the white women are drunk and they start heckling me. And I wish I would have filmed it because this is a clinic on how to destroy a heckler, right? I annihilate these two. I kill them. I make them seem like they're picking on me. And then I get the entire group of crowd to beg for them to get kicked out.
Nice.
And so they get kicked out, right? So I bring up Ernst, right? And Brett comes up, he's like, watch out, dude. The guys are a little fucking, I think they're going to get a little crazy. I'm like, fuck them. I'm not afraid of any of these dudes, right? So I go sit in the back, and at the time in the La Jolla Comedy Store, in the middle of the lobby was a foosball game, a foosball type game.
Yeah.
So me and this security guard, I think his name was Chris, we're just sitting there talking. All of a sudden, I see this drunk guy start to waddle up to me. And I'm like, I think this guy's with him. He's probably going to apologize for them being assholes. And he goes, hey, are you the comedian? I go, yeah. He goes, whack! And he smacks the fuck out of me. And it didn't hurt, but I'm like, oh my God, dude, you just hit me, bro. Out of nowhere, every fucking security guard who ever worked at this place is fucking on this dude, and we're beating the shit. And Matt Bryan is like, oh my God, oh my God. He's like queening up, like, get them out of here. Please stop, please stop. And he hates what I said because he got so queeny at that moment.
Meanwhile, you want it to be Goodfellas to just keep kicking this guy to the floor.
I mean, dude, this guy I can still know to this day as Bigfoot. His foot, when he comes up on my phone, I know who it is. His name's Bigfoot. He came in and soccer kicked this fucking dude, right?
God.
So his buddy's trying to pull him out as we're beating the shit up. The girls are like, we're on the city council. I'm like, fuck you. Whack, whack. I'm just kicking the fuck out. His buddy's trying to pull him out, right? His buddy's trying to pull him out, but it's like a two-way door, and the one door is hinged in at the time.
Yeah.
So he can't, so he's pulling his buddy out. The guy's just hitting the fucking side of the door as we're just kicking the fuck out of it. Well, as we're beating the shit out of this guy.
Pre-show?
No, this is during the show. This is where it
during
comes
the
in.
show. Okay.
We're kicking the shit out of this guy. All of a sudden, I look at in the middle of the lobby. Ernst is in the middle of the lobby with a mic in his hand, like he's gonna start punching people.
Like he thinks they're brass knuckles.
And I'm like, what are you doing, dude? He's like, what's going on? I'm like, and I look at, because he's not on stage. Yeah. I look, everybody from the fucking crowd is looking out. I'm like,
my God.
Get back on stage, bro.
He's got the mic from the stage. Yeah,
get the fuck back on stage.
Oh my God.
And that's the story. So we saw them go over there. The guys are yelling at the girlfriends, you fucking did this to us. And they got, dude, hilarious.
Weekly show or weekend?
God.
Weekend show.
That's Matt from here.
Matt Bryan.
That's who he's talking about. He's talking about Matt.
Yeah.
Fucking, oh my
the
God.
Queened out. Yeah, he's talking about that Matt.
Okay. Oh shit. I didn't even make that connection. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Hilarious.
Let's talk real quick about No Lives Matter. Is that your new special?
Yeah, that's my new special.
Okay.
I haven't really promoted it because I want people to find it.
I found it.
And it's
great.
Basically, I shot on an iPhone.
Really? Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, I want it to be super indie underground. I still haven't put out the audio yet. I got to do that because I'm looking for the right artwork. But it's basically, I just feel like political correctness is. Listen, I don't know what the goal line is. Mm-hmm. Like, what is equality? Yeah. Equality, I hate to tell you, the more that you're in, the more you get made fun of.
Yeah.
Right? Who gets made fun of the most? George Bush, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, LeBron James, the Kardashians. Right, dude? Watch what you wish for.
Right.
Like, being more in isn't making fun. You actually don't make fun of people you feel bad for and you look down on. Right? So this notion that, we can't make fun. I see myself, and this is completely the worst business model, is I see myself as the guy that takes the arrows so that people see it's like, the walls aren't bleeding. It's not the end of days. Like a common sense person knows the difference between hate speech and like having fun with, making observations. I will even defend hate speech because we can't decide what is hate speech and what's not hate speech.
Right.
Like the whole point before the ACLU went full retarded, right, was like you got to defend the worst of the worst. When you have a letter of the law, you got to defend the worst of the worst so that law is upkept for everybody. You can't like change because you just don't like somebody. And that's my opinion on comedy. It's like, and there's so much of this is like, like opportunists, like people just don't want you doing jokes. Like Bobby Lee used to get mad at me when I did Asian jokes, not because he doesn't think I could do Asian jokes, but now I just took a joke away from him writing it.
That sounds like Bobby Lee. Yeah.
Right? And he's the fucking best.
I love
But it's like you get mad. Oh, nice Asian joke, bro. Yeah, I know why you do. You're mad because you can't do that now. Which is everybody. It's like they just want a monopoly on it. And the notion is like it's like why can't people make observations about everybody? It's like, you know who sells the most tickets outside podcasters right now? Black comedians. Why? Because they are allowed to say whatever they want.
Oh, yeah.
People want to get rocked. Yeah. People want to hear the truth. They want. Yeah. Listen, man, I don't know when being offended became a felony.
I know.
Like, dude, you know what? Guess what? You feel something.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good fucking feeling. Yeah. And guess what? It's so funny. So the number one, I always do jokes about the number one demographic for talking to the manager is white women over 35, right? They love to talk to the manager. They love that joke. That joke's offensive. They knew somebody who knew a midget at one point. Somebody down the line might know a midget. And if the midget was here, even though he's not, but if he was here, his feelings might be hurt. Probably not, but might be hurt. And she doesn't want that. Then she'll get in her car after the show, drive home, and watch Murder Entertainment, right?
Yeah.
Where they talk about people getting murdered, and she'll consume the fuck out of it. And I know that women watch Murder Entertainment because every commercial during the first 48 is a Tampax commercial, right? So I'm like, you're worried about people's feelings getting hurt. The number one way to hurt someone's feelings is to murder them. That is the number one way. And it's just this weird thing because the two most censored groups out there are comedians and YouTubers. Why? Because you can create art without fucking rich people's money to do. A movie, an album, a play, anything takes a lot of money. Stand up, I don't even need a microphone. I yell. Right? YouTubers are great at editing now, and they don't like that. They can't compete with that.
It's funny you say that because since we started our podcast, I was never on YouTube, and now I consume more YouTube than I have big dollar HBO, Netflix.
Right.
And I feel better about myself because I feel like I'm providing clicks and views to people who the money should go to. But I'll go down a rabbit hole on stamps or like baseball cards or fucking, 18th century cock rings, whatever it is. And I'm in and I'm like, I'm getting something out of this. I'm enjoying it.
Supporting independent content. And if there's any industry that needs it, it's the cock ring industry. They need eyeballs.
The vintage one.
Whenever you click on, they're all like, Chris! But it's your personal chairs.
I love it though. It feels to me like I'm not consuming mass media anymore.
Yeah, and that's why they're learning. So the whole thing is that now YouTube is trying to shut everything down. And there's some people like, dude, if it's not you, I hate YouTube censorship, but I also won't go anywhere else but YouTube. So it's like,
well, we deal with this all the time because I could comfortably say that faggot is my favorite word ever.
Okay, everybody got quiet.
No, but it's a term of endearment. I probably haven't called you on the phone without calling you faggot sauce, or faggotino, or whatever.
It is a term of endearment,
or some form of that. But I've been working on a new bit.
I think for every time you say that word, you should have sex with a man. Well, that should be the rule. Every time you say it, you should have to bang a dude or let a dude bang you. So how many dudes do you think you are behind on?
If I was keeping score in a day, 38.
Okay.
And
that's a lot
and those
of
are just
work,
the public
bro.
ones, not like when I'm yelling in traffic and calling the car in front of me a fag.
I just don't know why listen, dude, I got the shit kicked out of me in high school. I got everything. I got completely banned in Hollywood. This is funny. At the airport the other day, I had a woman grab her luggage when I walked by. Oh. So I've been pulled over by cops. I got the bingo of black experiences. Fucking bing, 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 bing done. I get it. There's lots of.
Are you cultural appropriating yourself?
Yeah.
To the black experience?
Yeah.
Because some lady thought you were going to steal something out of a child.
Who steals luggage, bro? I'm like, who's going to grab your luggage and walk off?
Right by TSA.
So my whole thing is it's just we've gotten to a point. Well, and also everybody cries about censorship, right? Oh yeah, like the Dave Chappelle stuff is like, he's 100% correct, but there's nothing brave about it. Like nothing brave is done on a fucking private jet with a $20 million paycheck. He's like, oh my God, they're trying to have somebody fight for me. I gotta jump on my plane real quick. I'm going to play a sold out O2 Arena in London. Don't let them cancel me. They're serving sushi. I gotta go. Oh my God.
There's a solution to this though, and I made a conscious attempt at this because I remember talking to you about it. I was like, what does binary mean? You're like, I don't know. And I'm like, I could Google it. And I was like, I used to know what cisgender means, but I kind of forgot. I could relook it up. But I don't have to. I don't have to play ball. Okay? Yeah. I don't have to go down this road and be worried I'm going to offend somebody because I didn't use they or the pronouns or any of that shit.
At the end of the day, dude, it's like love, respect.
Absolutely.
And it's just like, you know, it's like the biggest thing. I'm an old school liberal, dude. I'm an old school liberal. Thank you. And
that's another guy you got to do.
Yeah, now you got to let me fuck
ding,
you.
Ding, ding.
Oh, wait, you have to fuck me up.
It's the person
Forget about it.
No, yeah, please.
It's like I'm not using the word ever again.
No, but I mean, you know, like here's a rule of comedy. Like we know we can get away with anything as long as we deprecate on ourselves first, and then it's a secret, it's a trick, and then I can get away with all the shit I need to really get out as long as I make myself the victim at first. But lately I've been thinking, you know, like I refer to myself as a full-blown cat faggot. And now I'm like, can I not say that anymore? Because they're not going to understand that means weirdo in my world. You know what I mean?
That's an interesting thing. That's an like I like being called the N-word in bed. That's a true story. And it's not my fault.
No.
I was banging this Mexican. She started calling me the N-word, and it's really the only way I can nut now, to be honest with you. So it's not my fault, though.
It's like when your mom rings the dinner bell. If he hears the N-word,
I swear to God.
I'm showing.
I wish it wasn't true. My baby's mama, I have a joke about it. She uses it against me, even though she called me 1,000 times. The point is, it's like that bit about Paul Mooney. Like I talked about that in Showtime, and I go, "Hey, did the Paul Mooney bit?" He goes, "Nah, I edited. I don't want you to get in trouble." But I'm like, why would I get in trouble? The guy's known for saying the N-word. He called me it.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's almost like this. It's the Emperor's New Clothes, right? Yeah. Where everybody's like, "Oh, dude, I mean, if this happens, it's gonna end." It's like. You know, I heard Cat Williams going, there's no such thing as cancel culture. Well, it's not that you're like completely done, but you're like Chris Delia got canceled.
Yeah.
And it's like, where's the evidence and all this stuff? 40 girls come out, all of them are overage.
Yeah.
2 come out, they're underage, and they openly admit to lying about the text. They edited the text.
Right.
Yeah. Which is what we talked about earlier. Yeah. Chris was how they got to all Joe Rogan's people, right?
Right.
He'll never be able to do. He may never get to the point where he could do Netflix specials ever again.
Yeah.
But he's back on his
Chris?
podcast and all that. Chris D'Elia.
See, I disagree. And Galern and I were talking about this, and you know, that was my initial response. And he's like, "Go look at his YouTube." And I'm like, "Why does that matter?" He's like, "He's getting 400,000 downloads an episode. Right. His fans aren't going anywhere."
No, but listen. There's a bunch of people that were outlaws behind closed doors.
Right.
Right. And that's not that I think Chris did anything with minors. I think he just dropped dick on every chick in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And they got really, they're like, we can't keep doing this. Right. We either all stop or we're all going to keep doing this. Right. And they're like, let's stop together, right? That's literally what Chris is like, are you laughing? I'm sorry, dude, but that's literally what happened. You fucked everybody and they revolted. Right.
In Idaho, that's what we heard.
Yeah.
That Chris fucked everybody.
He literally dropped dick on everybody.
Oh,
and
that's what I thought of him.
So, you know, this whole thing, and like it's something I said about Ari, right? It's just like Ari's my friend. I was one of the few people to like defend
Ari
him during the whole
Kobe
thing. The
Is
Kobe thing.
Yeah.
I do. There's other conspiracies I have on that, but
that's just his thing. That's what Ari does.
That's his whole thing. But you know, the rawness of that guy.
Yeah.
And then I can get into the whole thing. I don't want to talk on here, but I'll tell you after. But so Ari's whole thing was like Ari was like the underground king while having a fucking membership at the country club. Right? Like he's doing Netflix, he's going on Rogan, he's getting invited to every fucking festival, and he's saying the most outlandish words. Like just in life, sometimes you can't do that. And when you're an edgelord, and I say this to a lot of my friends I see start doing this edgelord shit.
And see, that was another word that I didn't know what it meant until like 6 months until everybody started calling him. I'm like, when did we coin this term?
Dude, can you believe I said that? And I go, just always remember why you're saying what you're saying.
Right.
If you say it just to be edgy, you will eventually fall in, and it happens to everybody. If you say it for a reason, because you're trying to make a valid point about a situation, then you'll be fine. But when you say edgy shit just to say edgy shit, that's when you fall in. I see it happen all
but that's also when the act has no truth or originality or pathos. It is just a front to shock and awe, as opposed to being like, this is my truth from my dark place, which I'm now making humorous. And that's why that shit doesn't work.
But what is happening also right now is that people like Rogan, Joey Diaz, Legion of Skanks, myself to a point, we're creating a system for edgy, politically incorrect comedians to actually be able to make a living. So when I started comedy, people were like, dude, you're never going to make money working dirty. But I'm like, this is who I am. So when I started stand-up, everybody wants to be Seinfeld. And I'm like, I'm not Seinfeld.
Right.
Like, the notion of like, if I had done what Sebastian did, I would be where Sebastian is completely ludicrous. Again, it goes back to what's the game. And, Sebastian
But it
blew
also
up because
goes back to what is your truth, what is your voice.
Well, Sebastian, that is Sebastian.
That's what I'm saying. That's not your truth.
It also helps that we have no Italian celebrities for the first time in history, right? Where's the Frank Sinatra's? Where's the Sylvester Stallone's? The Joe DiMaggio's? Sebastian is literally the only Italian celebrity right now. So, I mean, a bunch of things have to come together for that to fucking work. And I'm happy for him. He's a great guy. But the notion that if I did what Sebastian did, it would fucking go that way, it would not at all.
No.
So you got to find out what your truth, I hate, like, I know my truth. I hate that, but you got to know what your path is. And like people like Doug Stanhope. Doug Stanhope's another guy. Like, this is playing a Doug Stanhope show, which is an alternative
venue. By the way,
venue.
can I interrupt? Is there alcohol here?
I
Yes.
think
There is. I've got like 5 people on the guest list saying, is there booze here?
Yes.
Okay.
Not hard
no
stuff.
liquor, but there's beer and stuff.
Okay.
And it starts at 7, right?
Yeah.
Tonight. Okay, we're at 6:29.
Okay,
right now.
we'll wrap it up here.
Okay.
I'm going to drop a couple M-bombs.
All right, awesome.
So, that's
viral.
it. So the point is, at this long rant, is like, there's now the currency of the future is authenticity.
I think so.
And the days of getting canceled are going to get harder and harder because the mechanism in which to cancel you is dying every day.
Yeah.
Like, Netflix got Viacom flu, right? Which was all the rats that destroyed Viacom scurried over to Netflix, and now they're doing the exact same thing that Netflix did. I mean, Viacom did, which was woke bullshit and paying nobody anything. And
Paying nobody anything is the bottom line. And this is why I love your business model and your path, because your truth remains intact. And you're not selling it for a cheaper price, and you have your own audience that is willing to come and see you. And that's the beauty of what you've been able to accomplish.
What it is, dude, is like what I practice every day, and I'll end on this, is I practice law of attraction, which is positive energy. I am, whatever files I am becomes a fucking spell. So if you're always like, I am negative.
Right.
Negativity. It's like, look at Tupac and Biggie. They kept to talk about getting shot, and they got fucking shot. I'm telling you, it's like putting it in order. Then the next thing, and this is the biggest thing, is abundance. Give abundance versus scarcity. It is the model in which big pharmaceutical, they leverage death. Like when you're really young, they're always like, you only live once, which makes the scarcity of days alive become a fucking certain number. And you're like, I can't die. We live many lives. If you thought you lived many lives, you wouldn't be so insecure and be like taking all these fucking insane drugs to extend a life when you are becoming miserable, right? Abundance is giveaway. We are programmed to operate in scarcity, which is greed is good. Oh, millionaires, they're really chintzy with their money. Total bullshit. The great ones give it all away.
Yeah.
You get $50, give away 20, you'll get $70 back. I'm telling you, that's how the universe works.
Yep.
That's what we believe. What you put out there is what you get back.
Yeah.
And it's the most real
100%.
shit, and it sounds like some woo-woo bullshit, but it's real shit.
Yeah, it is.
You know, I love thy neighbor, man. Accept everybody for their things. As long as you don't infringe on my rights, I don't really care what you do. I don't give a fuck what you do with consenting adults. You want to blow a horse? Blow a fucking horse. I really don't care if you blow a horse. Just don't hurt kids and hurt other people. That's the only thing I got. You want to go blow a horse? Tell me, I'll watch because I'm a weirdo like that, right? But outside of that, man,
I don't have a problem as long as it's consensual.
Yeah.
Like the horse has to be into it.
No, I totally
can't
I feel the same way.
You can't chase a horse if he's like, I'm not into
The horse is like,
Yeah,
dude, I don't want to get hard. He kicks you, you're an asshole. The horse is like, take on the
If he's
fire
totally
hose.
down-
No consent.
What? I don't care. I just don't. And I don't care how creepy it gets. Because like another thing I've learned is like they've demonized our dark passengers. Like everybody has light and dark in them. And what they've demonized is the darkness of our sexuality, because everybody has a sexuality, and it's the only thing outside of pineapple on pizza that creeps everybody out, right?
Are you talking about eating asshole?
No, I'm like, yeah, if you like to eat ass, some people are like, dude, you're gross, or you like to get shit, or whatever it is. Everyone has something, right? And when theirs is a little different than yours, you're like, you're a fucking weirdo. So, and like, if you're like principal of a school, you don't want people to know you like getting pegged, because people are like, I don't want a man who likes to get pegged teaching my children, right?
Yeah.
It's like, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
You have, which goes back into the authenticity of who you are
Yeah.
and what you do.
Yes.
Right? Look, we got
That's
people.
my cousin.
Yeah, we got Neff Memorial people.
No, not even on that side of the family.
Oh,
Different side.
I gotta follow you at a home. This is a home court game, right? This is home
This
court.
is totally
He's
home.
the bringer, yeah.
If you guys don't mind, I'm gonna do this.
No,
again.
totally
I was at
cool.
my dad's funeral
Love it.
today. I had a jacket and tie on, and I hate
got
black
yucky.
socks.
Okay.
And like I
Actually,
can
wear
only
two
wear
pairs of
black
underwear.
socks.
Really? I don't wear white
and a
socks
white
ever.
shirt
I mean,
and
You
white
got
socks.
grays?
Why do you
Yeah, I
like
can't do
gray
white.
and
Pairs of
black.
underwear.
Yeah.
Because I'm OCD. And
Oh,
Wow.
like a
2 pairs of underwear.
like you go out,
Wow.
taking places.
Yeah.
He spends half the time
that's why
cleaning
you
out his
couldn't-
ring.
Shake.
What's that?
Is that-
No, I had wet hands,
Oh, okay.
and that's just me being,
Okay.
classy. But no, I mean,
Or creepy.
I have a routine.
Whatever
and
you
it's
think it
called
might be.
Every drop of piss is out of my body before I get on stage, and my ring's dry. You have
Interesting.
You have to have a
That's your thing.
clean baby bottom before you get on stage.
nice.
So-
Nice. But you should get the Kulo Clean.
What's
Have you
that?
it's the portable bidet.
Oh.
You just screw it right on the end
You
of
told me you were going to give me one of those.
Oh,
from
the Kulo
show.
Clean. I just
the
started
bidets?
seeing this the other day.
I
We got
tried
a
to
bidet.
install a bidet. It's like too much work.
He did
I
one. We
put
couldn't
2
believe
of them
it.
in our house.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
Do you just wash your asshole? You don't wipe
Hold
anymore?
on.
Dry.
hats
You
dry.
dry. Yeah.
Here's the
Afterwards, yeah. You just spray it,
don't
get
wanna-
all that shit
I
out, and then
don't
you
want to sound like a fucking weirdo, but I've been
Dude,
washing.
it's too late.
I've been
But you
washing.
use it like an enema as well.
But I've been washing my asshole.
I'm with you.
Every time I've taken a shit, but way before bidets came out.
No, okay. Yeah.
You know me in a bird bath.
Aren't
okay?
you glad you didn't shake his hand now when you know he washes his
I'm
asshole?
a pure
And by the
alcoholic.
way,
Yeah.
women, when you hook up with them, they're like,
They
can
don't
I
wanna
use the
know that?
bathroom real quick?
Yeah.
You know that's what they're doing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They're NASCAR in their
Yes.
fucking pussy and asshole.
Buddy, yes, and then some of them they'll just like patchouli down
Dude,
there.
I saw the
No.
funniest business in Boise, and it's like lunchbox.
Lunchbox wax. Yes.
Like it's
Yeah,
literally like
yeah.
you're gonna be eating this out. Let's clean it
Hold
up.
on, are they
yeah.
waxing your bush in
Yes.
like a box truck on the side of the
No.
highway?
No, it's a
Basically-
store
Oh.
location. Yeah.
Because I was like,
Yeah,
they're breaking
Who has to
a law.
explain that to somebody?
Lunchbox
Who has
wax.
to explain
Yeah.
that to
Lunch?
somebody?
Well, it sounded like a lunch truck, and you got your beaver.
No,
fucking...
lunchbox. What you
I
eat
got it.
out of.
Got it. Got
Jeez.
it. Well, you know how they have like those festivals, like
Oh,
here,
okay.
have the lobster roll, have the teriyaki, come in the back, we'll take taking care of your
You're waxing.
You know those places.
Those ones, okay, we should get out of here.
We should.
Yes.
We can't wait for the
Are you guys on the
show.
show tonight? You
No,
comics?
we're watching. No, we're
Huge fans, and we're
Yeah, we're
podcasters,
massive
and
fans.
we got into podcasting because of our love for
Was
comedy.
that too much inside
No,
baseball for
loved it.
everybody?
No,
Loved it.
just
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
love
how-
the raw shit.
I'll obviously listen to your find your show after this, but yeah, thanks.
We got hooked up with
Oh, you're
Jen.
welcome.
With
Thank you.
the
Yeah,
Idaho
we
Comedy
mainly
Fest
interview
and-
comedians. Yeah,
Okay.
and so that's the
I
thing.
haven't made it up to
You
the Idaho
name
Comedy
dropped
Fest.
all the people I wanted to hear about, like Bert Kreischer and Rogan.
I've been
and
very blessed.
We saw
like,
you on Something's Burning with Bert and
with Gareth Reynolds.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Back that was an older
He's so
one. Yeah,
fucking
Yes.
funny.
yeah.
And you know, man, it's like if that era's done, I think like they're all everybody's doing great
They
shit.
are.
Yeah.
But the when we were all in
The
one
little
place,
Yeah, pretty awesome.
Yeah.
it was a great run.
Yeah.
It was a blessings,
Yeah.
and nothing lasts forever, dude.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for being here. Is
Have
there
a great
anything
show.
you want to say?
Check out my special,
Oh, yeah.
No Lives Matter,
No
at
Lives Matter.
samtripoli.com.
Yes.
That's
And
right.
you have paid content on Rockfin.
Yeah, go to rokfin.com/tinfoilhat0.
Yeah, and if you want to
Sometimes.
bank a fatty, if you're new to financial investing and want to do it and have some laughs, go to Cash Daddies Pod. It's on Twitter.
One guy made $400,000 listening
Yeah.
to us.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
People
Awesome.
listen, man.
I've wanted to
Awesome.
learn a little more about cryptocurrency because
Yeah.
I know nothing
Well,
really
it's not
about
just
it.
crypto; it's stocks too.
It's stocks too,
Yeah.
okay.
So,
Why,
but-
you want to know about crypto?
Yeah, I mean, yes, I wanted to get into that a little bit, but we're out of time.
Yeah, we'll
but
talk,
yeah,
we'll talk off here. But
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
man,
I-
it's a game changer.
I gotta
Yeah,
go
I
sign
would-
some autographs, so I'm gonna leave you
Okay,
guys.
cool. All right, let's.
But if you want,
they're literally wrapping up the show.
yeah.
I know. I just wanted to sound like I was important.
Okay.
The last
Like, I
word.
got shit to
like
do.
the last word.
Other than this fucking
And I gotta grab my
podcast.
merch. Is your merch inside?
Yeah, my merch is
Okay, I gotta go get my merch.
Nice.
Cool.
All right, thanks,
Let's see if we
guys.
can get a second table too.
Oh,
Oh,
let's
yeah,
take a
yeah. We'll just-
photo.
Yes.
All right,
Oh,
thank
don't
you
forget
guys.
All right,
to-
thank you for being on the
Take a
podcast.
photo.
Yes, let's do it
Real
real
quick.
quick. Yeah.
One more time again.
Wendy, Chris.
Wendy, Chris,
Yes.
they're hanging out.
We have the same addiction.
Oh, yes.
I noticed you
What's
had
that?
nicotine
Nicotine
gum.
gum.
I've been on it for 20 years.
Yeah, me too.
Everyone, hold on. Oh, here. Okay, I'll go high. You go low.
That's nice. I'm glad you have that addiction. The
Yeah.
lady just asked me at the store, does it work? And I said, it gets you addicted to nicotine gum.
I do it all.
Yeah,
Oh,
crypto,
those give me
dude.
hiccups, though.
Take a little money every
I
paycheck,
do
buy a
too.
little bit
Yeah,
more.
Just put it in your side
Always
thing.
buy Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then